lot of people have heard about our case where the valedictorian, actually a federal judge, said if anyone prays or mentions God in the graduation, they will be, quote, incarcerated. Right? Well, you know, we won that case and everything. What people don't know is we talked to 2 other kids and their families that weren't willing to stand. They didn't want to make a fuss. They didn't want to. And we sat in our office going, this is one of the most outrageous violations of freedom in the history of this country, and it's going to go unchallenged because no one has the courage to stand up. And we got the call from the valedictorian's dad. Thank goodness for Angela and what she did for everybody else. But that, I think that's what's going to determine our future. Are people willing to stand up in a loving manner, but to stand unswervingly for what they know is true?
What pastors deal with, especially pastors who have multiracial congregations, is this. There's a certain tribalism that's represented in this president. He is the ultimate tribal chief. Basically, many times, that's what the black pastor represents in the community. And he can get away with just about anything he wants to get away with, as we see a lot of times. But when we challenge that pastor to challenge his congregation to live by the principles and precepts that's being taught in Scripture, they somehow are more tribalistic. They see their color.
But that's what goes back again to Martin Luther King.
Exactly.
The content of character. You can't have... Look, if we've become a culture where character doesn't matter. We were told that in the 90s. Well, that's the opposite of what Martin Luther King said.
Exactly right.
He said, judge me by the content of my character. Then in the 90s, there is no character. Well, if that's true, then we only can judge on what? Color? Height? Eye color? Ears?
If you recall, you were attacked by Sharpton for trying to hijack that day.
Yes.
For trying to restore honor to it, you see. And the honor was, we want to be judged by the content of our character. Where have we gone wrong? Where have we gotten off track with this? We're color now. Is the order of the day.
You know, that honestly was a mistake. We just didn't know that 8/28 was the day that Martin Luther King made this speech. It wasn't something that came to mind. However, it was the perfect day. That was God-inspired. That was the perfect day to do it. And if I did it again today, it'd be a little different because I've learned a lot since then.
It was a fantastic day, and the outpouring, Alveda being there, and everybody, she's in the film, and everybody that turned out that day. We contrasted your event with his event. You'll see for yourself.
I have to see it. Okay. Well, let me jump off, because how much time do I have? Oh, okay. Let me sidetrack just a little bit here with what happened on 8/28. We're doing something on 7/28 this summer, which is here in Dallas, Restoring Love. That, to me, is because I've studied Gandhi, Bonhoeffer, and Martin Luther King. Bonhoeffer was the only one that failed, and it's because people disconnected. They no longer, they were apathetic about everything. They no longer saw your problem as my problem, your injustice as my injustice. That's what love is. I love you like a brother. It doesn't matter who you are. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure that what happens to you, it's Martin Luther King. So how is it that we can connect people? How is it we can get people to come together on that principle? And how do we get the preachers to take the stick out of their butt and do it?
If I could just say this, you know, one of the names of God in Scripture that's never talked about is Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. He's never mentioned. Every time I've seen you, my daughter's here in the studio today. I think when she came out of her mother's womb, she was your fan because she would watch you with me. But every time I see you, you're a warrior, and that's what's misunderstood about you, because we live in a very passive society. The only way for evil to exist, we all know, is for good men to do nothing. When you stand up, and this is what hasn't happened in the church. I'm creating, in the church that we're involved with, I'm creating a warrior culture. We talk it. We talk about David's mighty men. We're restoring that to men to being warriors. In other words, actually taking a stand and getting away from Eve standing at the tree in Genesis 3 and having this conversation with the serpent. And where was Adam? Right next to her. and then she eats, and then she turns and gives it to him, and he eats. That's how we know he's standing right there with her, rather than standing in front of her and saying, you know what, serpent, you're not going to talk to my wife or my family. You got to go through me first. And that was the sin of Adam. The sin of Adam was, and Adam in Hebrew means the ultimate male, is that he did not take his place as the man. So if you want to know, again, we're not here to talk about the problem of the church. The challenge of the church, in my opinion, without sounding male chauvinistic, is for the men to take their place and to become warriors. And so that's what we're trying to inspire.
That's what our society has done. It has taken and destroyed the male.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Destroyed them.
Yeah, definitely.
They've made men and women exactly the same.
Well,
we're equal, but we're not the same.
Again, with all due respect, and please hear me, this is not racial. We have a president who's fatherless. And so how can who taught him to be a man? So I'm not talking about Barack. I'm talking about any man.
Yes.
So you know what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying.
And this is the idea as well. Margaret Sanger, the Negro Project. Take the male out of the home, and we'll take care of you. The government becomes daddy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part in our film where it's said that master doesn't want the slave educated.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want the slave to love his wife or his children. He wants the slave to love him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is this dependence.
But see, I mean, it's really, and you know this, the first thing that the slave owner did was break the family apart.
Absolutely.
Break it apart.
Yes.
Gentlemen, I wish we had more time. We will again. Back in a minute. Final thoughts.